Light smile, light live. She who's when sun wins him. Gold hair and a gentle curl. That's a girl he chose. And heaven knows I'm not that girl.
Welcome back to Man Coverage, Buffalo's #1 podcast about all things Wicked, the movie musical. Bitch, the chokehold that this soundtrack has had me in, specifically Defying Gravity. I know I said it last week, but I finally saw the movie, so I've been thinking about it a lot, both the movie and the play. I mean, I personally made it, 20 years and like a week of the movie being out without knowing anything about the plot of this show at all. But the point is, it's coming here, and I think there are a lot more similarities here when it comes to Wicked the movie and football and big sports in general. I've also been thinking a lot about the Eras Tour ending, of course, as a Swiftie, and these big cultural events happening right now. And I think for me, it comes down to really a love of like a big monocultural event, right? Like TV used to be that thing where people could gather around the water cooler, as they would say, and talk about the latest episode of Friends or whatever. And we don't really get a ton of those moments anymore because everything's so fractured. People like barely watch the Grammys or the Oscars, or let alone listen to the things that are nominated for Grammys or Oscars. I think it's really fun to get swept up in a cultural craze. So yeah, of course, I wore pink and green to go see Wicked, just like I wear red and blue when I go to watch a Bills game at a bar a mere 12 miles from the stadium where the event is actually taking place. Now, this does come back to football, of course, because a few big, strong, brave boys have taken to their social media accounts to show their love of the music of Wicked. The first post I saw, and maybe you did too, making the rounds, was Kirk Cousins. He's the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons. And he mentioned in a presser last week that he did Wicked songs in high school show choir. And so he was excited for the movie to come out. He is a grown-ass adult, yes, and probably isn't like ashamed of saying he did show choir. But I also very much believe that Troy Bolton walked, so Kirk Cousins could say that sentence about show choir with his whole chest. And then there is, of course, my new king, Kobe Turner. Before I saw the TikTok of him singing I'm Not That Girl while also playing the piano that I played at the top, I saw him upload a video on Instagram where he learned the book dance from the movie. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, it's a scene where like the whole cast company, whatever, is dancing in like the quad of this witch university where Ariana Grande meets Cynthia Erivo. Anyways, it's a cute little scene. It's a big, like, production. The choreographer posted a quick tutorial, and then Kobe Turner, on the day of his professional football game, decided to learn it in his hotel room. So Kobe Turner is a defensive end for the LA Rams. And if you see the video, I'll post it in the show notes. It's incredibly endearing to watch this, like, bulky defensive player, like, leap through his room at, I don't know, the Holiday Inn outside of New Orleans or whatever, to the sounds of Ariana Grande singing. Luckily, the Rams did go on to win against the New Orleans Saints 21-14 on Sunday, which thank God, because I imagine the reception to a video like that after a loss may have been offensive at best. But after seeing Kobe dance and hearing him sing, I continued to scroll through his Instagram like any good millennial, and the video right after the dancing one was him playing an acoustic guitar and singing Sweater Weather by The Neighborhood. You know that song. Like, even if you don't think you know it, you definitely know it. And it was a total slay. He has an incredible voice, and he's clearly good at piano and guitar and football. Now, there are some actual posts about football if you keep scrolling. But even further down his Instagram, not in like a creepy far way, but like a couple thumb reps, you find yourself watching, again, defensive end for the Los Angeles Rams, Kobe Turner, singing Waving Through a Window, which I would say is like the defining song of the musical, also turned movie, Dear Evan Hansen. I love this song. I got really into Dear Evan Hansen during like the height of lockdown. I don't know why. I had a whole Ben Platt phase. But anyways, Kobe Turner singing Waving Through a Window, also worth a watch, also worth a follow. He's at Kobe Turner on all of the platforms. I know I'll be keeping a closer eye on him and the Knicks Rams game. All right, that's probably enough musical theater for y'all. I'm not even a musical theater girly. But how about them Bills, baby? Straight from an engagement vacation in California, Josh Allen came home ready to be the wife guy that he was always destined to be, and also MVP. We are fresh off a hot win despite the cold temps here in Buffalo. Everyone has been asking me about the snow, which we only just got in Buffalo proper. None of that Sunday mess that you saw at the game touched us, just like 20 minutes north of the stadium. I'm recording this on Wednesday and we woke up to some snow, but that's like 4 days after Orchard Park got snow. So, I mean, I'm no better than Chris Collinsworth in that I don't actually know how lake effect snow works, and he clearly didn't either, the ways he was trying to describe it on Sunday. But it was a pretty epic game where we beat the Niners 35-10 right here in Orchard Park. I mean, games like that are really what I love about watching football. It was so fun and joyful to watch these guys just being dudes, playing around in the snow while absolutely destroying the game that they made their careers. I do have to say, though, it was just slightly less fun to watch since we were crushing the Niners. And here with a recap from the other side of that game is our beloved friend, colleague, and member of the faithful, B. Katz.
I just want to open by saying I love the Bills. I'm from upstate New York, and I've never wished ill on the team, their fans, or Josh Allen. The people of the Bills Mafia are just like anyone I grew up with, and I know deep down in their hearts, if you get past their questionable politics, denial of their raging alcoholism, and xenophobia, they're good people. Good, hardy people of this Northern American land. There continues to be more to say about the 2024 49ers, and none of it is with my pleasure. It was so exciting to see Christian McCaffrey take off and run like he was made to do. He reminds me of an Australian shepherd or a blue heeler in the way that he was so clearly born to run. He also reminds me of me in the way that his body continues to fail him despite his mental fortitude. It's hard to say whether it's the Madden curse, Chiefs devil magic, or just the end of his career, but on Sunday, watching him go down voluntarily because something had happened to his knee broke my heart. It's been a really rough year for this team, and the expectations for Sunday were in hell, and that's where the outcome was too. It's fun to see Josh Allen play, and it's fun to see fans not too far from my hometown make lake effect snow the main facet of the fandom. Really, I feel camaraderie with that. But it's a little different when you're watching an already run-down, skeleton crew, emotionally exhausted team be demolished. Even worse when it's your own. The Niners have really gone through some personal tragedies this year, including one gunshot wound and 2 teammates having children die, along with having about 70% of their starting line be out with injuries. I feel so bad for Brock Purdy, an Arizona native who probably had never seen snow like this, and for all the receivers who just couldn't make plays. It was sad to watch. If it was anyone else, I really would have enjoyed this game. I hope Josh Allen has a long and prosperous life with his fiancée, who I happen to share a birthday with. I knew it. Cosmic destiny. In another life, maybe it's me. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan because I'm from upstate New York, and Josh Allen falls in love with me because the astrology of us is inevitable, and I live out the rest of my days just serving on Instagram and making pop songs or whatever. But honestly, at the end of the day, it's been really fun to be a fan of this team for the past 5 years. But 2024 is ending our winning streak. I feel like this is kind of how I felt in high school, watching my team kind of lose and getting it rubbed in my face by classmates. NFL fans are a lot of things, but they're not subtle. And I admit I'm exactly the same way, especially towards like Eagles or Green Bay fans. People who are cold for half the year have a deep-seated discomfort about them, and I also love to beat a rival when they're down. I honestly wish we could just mercy rule this season and duck out and come back next year with healed knees, a healed O-line, maybe a different defensive coordinator, and healed hearts. The whole game was a tough watch, but just like anything Chris Collinsworth is narrating, he was the worst part. I swear to God he'd never seen snow before, and the fact that he just couldn't help himself and had to compare Josh Allen's crazy touchdown to something the Chiefs have done was the last straw. "Turn it off," I said to my husband, who was shaking his head. "Turn it off." I'll be back in a couple weeks with a story about how I became a 49ers fan as someone who grew up in rural upstate New York. Until then, forever faithful. The cat's out.
I mean, it's truly a rough season of theirs to be watching and hear about both on and off the field. And just a little context on those children that Vic mentioned. So cornerback Travarius Ward's 1-year-old daughter, Amani Joy, died on October 28th. She had been born prematurely with Down syndrome and had open heart surgery in April of 2023. And then most recently, left tackle Trent Williams' wife gave birth to a stillborn son late last week. She was initially pregnant with twins and lost the other child earlier in the pregnancy. Her son was then diagnosed with trisomy 13, which is a genetic condition also known as Patau syndrome that affects how the face, brain, and heart develop, along with several other internal organs. So, Jesus, just a lot going on for those families, that team, like Vic said, with physical injuries and grief kind of constantly happening. A lot on the minds on those in the Bay Area. Now, there's no good way to transition out of that. So I'm just going to say next topic here. And that next topic is going to be fashion and tunnel fits. Fashion is so interesting because I mean, it's so subjective, right? Something on the runway could look like art to its maker or those who are in the scene maybe, and it could look insane to someone like your coworker. We're getting ready to go on a trip to Europe in a few weeks for Christmas, and I was like, I truly don't remember what my own personal style is because, one, I work from home, so I grab whatever t-shirt, sweatpants, sweatshirt combo hits my eye first that day. I don't even have client calls at my new job, so I'm talking like no thought is put into my daily look. And then two, when I do leave the house, there's usually like a theme involved. Like sometimes we go out for Bills games, so I am in my uniform of red, white, and blue, or I'm going to a drag show, so it's glitter and a jumpsuit, or I'm seeing an event like Wicked or Barbie, which also come with their own costume regulations. Which reminds me, I need an outfit to see Gladiator in. The other thing is that I just love tunnel fits. I love the drama and the place where fashion and culture meets athleticism and masculinity. That masculinity with like a capital M, right? And I love that it happens in like a concrete tunnel that's usually like wet and cold and lasts about 45 seconds from someone getting out of their car, walking into work. And that's like their runway. So a couple articles I looked into about tunnel fits and how this became not a tradition, but just something that players started to do to express themselves. So this one piece, The Rise of Football's Arrival Fits, Putting Player Fashion in the Spotlight, is by The Athletic. And they describe tunnel fits as what athletes wear when they turn up at a venue for games. Usually athletes arrive in the tunnel beneath the arena wearing their best outfits. A stylist quoted in the article goes on to say you're getting a close and personal look at what the athletes look like when they're not in their uniforms and how they're choosing to express themselves. And over time, players have taken more pride in how they show up for work. Another big factor that drives it is competition among players. These guys are trying to outdress other guys on their team or outdress other guys on other teams. And while it's really a mainstay in the NFL and football, we've seen it in basketball, we've seen it in sports across the globe, but again, it is mostly something that we see in these tunnels in the NFL. But another piece I read, it was called Tunnel Fits Have Lost Their Way. That was in GQ, and it was from October 2024. that was written by Noah Johnson. He says that too often tunnel fits fall short of being actually good outfits, and too many of them suffer from the same pitfalls of being too new, too matchy, too mushy, too out there. Because really, you're just walking a runway. It's kind of like those outfits that we see in Fashion Week that aren't really made to be worn outside or running errands or doing anything. They're just worn to be worn. A lot of them aren't practical. And a lot of what we see, if someone isn't inherently into fashion, is the work of a stylist. So you're not really seeing what the players would pick out themselves. You're seeing what a stylist picked out to dress insert player here. So again, from Noah Johnson, he ended the article with this quote: "A good outfit is one you wear because you like it, because it makes you look cool and feel cool, and because while you have it on, it's yours." And I really like that. It kind of reminded me of the timeless RuPaul quote, "You're born naked and the rest is drag." Like anytime you put clothes on, anytime you get dressed, you wake up in the day. Like I said, I put no thought into it, but that's just the place in life I'm in. I'm trying to rebuild my personal style. But it is interesting to see how tunnel fits have grown into their own thing. There's like Instagram accounts that are about tunnel fits, that are about just league fashion for basketball, soccer, football, anything like that, whether it's worn into a game or it's just someone spotted on the street in a look. And I think it's really interesting because that last GQ article mentions this basketball player, professional basketball player, Kyle Kuzma. He's a Washington Wizard who is known for his tunnel looks, being really flashy, fashion forward. He kind of gives me like Stefon Diggs vibes just from the looks I've seen of his. And I guess he's known for this one fit where he's wearing a giant bubblegum pink sweater. It's so big and the sleeves are like down to the floor. It's giving Willow Pill in that one Drag Race challenge. And if it's any indication of who this guy is, based on knowing nothing about him, I'm like, okay, he likes to play with clothes and fashion and, God forbid, wear pink. Let's say it's part of his branding. I don't know. I like that. It makes me more intrigued to find out more about who Kyle Kuzma is. But with that being said, Kyle recently told Vogue that he was retiring from the tunnel fit game. He came out and said, "I'm not doing looks anymore." Basically, he said he didn't want that to be his focus heading into the next basketball season. And that in the end, he feels like some, especially younger players who are newer to the world of professional sports, end up just buying clothes to impress people or to stand out, has nothing to do with their own style or identity. Now, there's a lot here. Many people brush off fashion and styling as just ancillary and unnecessary. But I think when it comes down to it, brand identity and even like our jobs, our hobbies, the things that we're known for, you can almost tend to feel stuck in those things because you're so known for them, right? Like I'm a podcaster. Everyone knows I work in audio. I was thinking about getting a new job for a while, but I was like, this is kind of a part of who I am. And I can't imagine being an accountant or something like that, right? But it comes down to like, is it fun anymore? This guy, Kyle, wasn't having fun getting dressed before the games. And so he stopped. And it's interesting that it became that much of like a burden, something that judging by the way he did put in effort to his looks, he did enjoy at one point, but it's kind of like that thing where, you know, if you're an artist or a creative and then you do make money off the thing that you create and you make it your job, then it becomes less fun because then you're expected to do it. And then you're doing the same things over and over. And then you're like, damn, I really wanted to be an artist my whole life, but now it's my job, and now we all inherently hate our jobs, right? Or is that just me? I don't know. But on that note, speaking of, are things fun anymore? We will be taking some time off for the holidays and reevaluating our process, our podcast publishing schedule. So if you don't see us post for like a week or two, just know we'll be back after the holidays, Christmas, New Year's. It's Spotify Wrap Day. Happy Wrap Day to all. And just getting our life situated. But thank you so much for listening. We even got our own little Spotify Wrapped for Creators thingy, which really didn't have much information. We've existed for like 2 months, but it felt cool and it felt really real. And that only happens because the show exists and people like you are listening. So thank you so much. Thank you for listening to another episode of Man Coverage. Please make sure to follow our Instagram at ManCoveragePod for more memes and other dumb shit. And also subscribe, rate, review, and share this show with other dumb girlies. Go Bills.
The dog was following me. Then I found a spider. And then I tripped.